evening, and welcome to Gooner Gathering and Arsenal Domination. We are live, and welcome Lee, who normally hosts these, but it's me hosting today, so a bit of a change up. And that new intro music gets me every time. It's all changed. But how are you, Lee? All right?
I'm good, mate. No, not too bad. It's been an interesting afternoon's football. There's a reason why you're in that position and not me. I'm definitely on the Pepsi Max right now. Mhm.
Yeah, and if you believe that, you'll believe all, right?
Exactly. Cheers.
It does look like Pepsi Max, to be fair, but
It is. It genuinely is. What I
it's
was
what you
on
had before the
previously.
Pepsi Max. It might be.
Precisely. But we are
Oh,
here to do the post match analysis, if you will. And before we get any further, like, share, subscribe, all them fun things on both channels.
that would be awesome, and I always forget to do that. So good job, Lee did. But I mean, the question, Lee, is it post match or post mortem? We'll find out, shall we? Oi!
Hey, I don't know. I don't know. I still see this as you know, okay, it could have been a lot worse than it was. And in all fairness, you know, if you want to talk Premier League, things were done a long time ago. To be fair, if we're absolutely
Uh,
honest about it, right?
agree entirely. Right. But there we go. Shall we get into it? Shall we start
Yeah.
with the lineups? I think there's a couple of interesting bits about both lineups, to be honest. But we'll
Mm,
start with Arsenal. Arsenal made one change to their
yeah.
starting lineup, and it was something I was talking about beforehand. It was Ricardo Calafiore or Miles Lewis-Skelly. I always thought that was a decision to make after the excellent result in midweek. I wasn't expecting many changes, and that was the one change he made, which was Ricardo Calafiore came in. We'll come onto the bench in a minute because, of course, some interesting news there too. But just your thoughts on the starting lineup, Lee.
So I thought that with California in, it was a more experienced head in at left back, right? Uh, as well as Lewis Skelly has done as an 18-year-old. Let's be brutal on this assessment, right? He got hooked on 35 minutes against PSV because he was on a yellow card and he was walking on a knife edge. He was a red card waiting to happen in Holland. To be fair, so maybe this was an opportunity. We have the more experienced Italian player to go and play here, and it made a lot of sense to me. It gave him a chance to just take a little bit of a step away, just temporarily. I'm sure he'll come back in. Let's not forget, of course, Lewis Skelly's not naturally a defender. He is more of a midfield player from what I've seen in the academy ranks. But he has filled in very well at left back. But again, at 18, it's very easy to get caught up in the match circumstances and to get if you especially if you go to Old Trafford, where it's a dangerous place to go. It doesn't matter what sort of form they're in at Manchester United. It's still Manchester United, right? And you know, I feel that a maybe more experienced head made a lot of sense um, in this setup. To be fair,
I mean, I think in some ways you're right. I think I agree. I mean, I talked
yeah,
about, for want of a better word, Miles Lewis Skelly being punished a little bit in terms of being taught a lesson would be a better
yeah,
phrase after that. And I think that was right. But of course, we mustn't forget that Ricardo Calafiore, of course, hooked in his last start, which was the game
yeah,
before, for being a walking red card too. And I've talked about the system a lot before and how it sort of asked a lot of the left backs as well. And both were relatively young and relatively inexperienced. But I thought that was I actually thought he'd go Miles Lewis Skelly, funny enough, but I um I wasn't surprised to see it being Calafiore, and I think there was a question here about what that did for our attack because Calafiore has actually been sort of a dark horse. He's been that sort of agent of chaos a little bit going forward, ironically from left back, and whether we'd want that from the start or the end of the game, as an option to bring on. And I can understand how Mikel got to that decision, but as I say, that was the one thing they had to decide on. And I don't think there was a wrong call or a right call on that one. To be fair, I think both have got a lot to offer Arsenal, and both still quite young.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. You can, either pick or choose either of them. Let's not forget Calafiori came off the bench after 35 minutes, and he scored a goal, and he got an assist at PSV, didn't he? So, you know,
Well, I mean, who didn't, Lee? I mean, who didn't?
well, yeah, great point, of course, but you know what I mean. It's like,
I know what you mean. I know.
uh, how can I put this? You've got so many, like for example, you got the likes of Ethan Nwaneri as well, who I don't think was particularly great today, and I have a bit of sympathy because, of course, he's a very young player. You can only play a certain amount of young players with getting so far, right?
I
And
agree.
and I'm going to be on the one that's on sort of the kind of level-headed kind of. You're going to either have a great game or not. There's people that had a good game today. There are people who didn't have good games today, but we got a result of sorts, not in terms of Premier League trophies, obviously, but in terms of getting something in the Premier League to get to the European places, Champions League places. That's what we got today.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you in terms of the young players, Miles Lewis, Skelly, Wanyeri. They're both
Mm,
still developing. It's very rare you get a Bukayo Saka who's so physically developed and so gifted, right, coming
yeah,
through. And you expect peaks and troughs. It's so rare to see a Saka. It's
you never see
it's
it.
so rare, so rarely, right? And you're going to see the ups and downs with both of them. And you're absolutely right. Wanyeri wasn't great today, and we'll probably come on to that later. How surprised were you to see Gabby Martinelli, both travelling with the squad initially? Obviously, that was picked up with the squad arriving at Manchester
Yeah.
Piccadilly Station yesterday, and then uh, being on the bench, and then obviously coming on at some point during the game. Was that a shock to you? It was to me.
It was a shock to me to an extent. However, I did see the pictures online uh, very early this morning, and when I saw uh, like stories on Twitter, that's why I did my sort of 3 minute video earlier in the day, because that obviously it's a big plus. And I said it earlier in the video that I put out at lunchtime. Not necessarily for Premier League, because I kind of think Premier League gone anyway. But in terms of having another option going forward, especially for Champions League, what a boost that is to have him in. And, to be fair, he played a good, 25,
30,
30
30
minutes
minutes,
today.
really. Yeah, yeah.
And did he set the world alight? No. Did he do okay? Yeah, I think he did a sort of 5, 6 out of 10 performance today. It was just nice to have him out there. Tells you
Yeah,
everything you need to know, by the way, that that Sterling never got on the pitch today.
yeah. He's just a man that's lost all confidence, all form. He doesn't. He
Yeah,
scored. Everyone forgets that he scored 15 goals and assists last season, but he looks nowhere near that this season. I
yeah.
can understand why Arsenal did the transfer they did, and obviously it's a loan, and he's not going to be made permanent. But
It's
but
been a
that's very.
nightmare, to be fair, Dom, isn't it?
It's
Let's be
been a
fair.
nightmare for him. It's been a nightmare for
Yeah,
everyone, right? Because he looks nowhere near that player. But I
yeah,
looked at it as a very low risk transfer, and indeed it is a low risk transfer. Here, go back, and that'll be that. But it's obviously not worked out at all. And as you say,
yeah,
very telling, he didn't get on the pitch. I agree to you to an extent that it's good to see Gabby Martinelli back. My fear pre-kickoff was that he was being rushed back given our position. I didn't
yeah,
expect fireworks from today. I think it'll be the same with Bukayo Saka when he comes back, because they've missed a lot of football. Martinelli missed, obviously, will have
yeah.
much less than Bukayo Saka, but I think it's really important that we don't overexert them. I don't want to see Gabby Martinelli, for instance, starting on Wednesday night. 20 minutes, half an hour again, absolutely fine if that's what he's fit for. I mean,
Yeah.
if he's fit to start, I still don't want to see that, right? But I don't want to see more than 20 minutes, half an hour from him at a time. I think it's important that he's available and ready for after the international break more than now, right? We're through in the Champions League. The Premier League's gone.
Yeah, that's a great point, because last time I checked, Dom, we're not medical professionals, right? We're not the
No.
ones. right, we're not the ones behind the scenes, so there'll be people like Mikel Arteta that will know whether Martinelli is good to go or not, right?
Yeah,
So, from my understanding, was that like Martinelli was ahead of schedule, and no, he's not being rushed back. That was what I understood. Um, and to be fair, he looked okay. I'm not going to rave him up today on the performance. He looked okay. Um, and longer term, I thought that's a really promising sign. Um, I mean, we could get into a raging uh, argument. I know that's it's very fresh in people's minds at the moment. You know, why is Martinelli going in early? So we say early quotation marks. Where you got the likes of other people who haven't even played the Premier League minute, who's not even getting a look in here. There's probably a reason for that.
yeah. I mean, look, I mean, there's two things here, and I
Mm,
thought Martinelli looked. He had a couple of instinctive shots today, actually, which I thought were
he
quite
did.
promising. And you, as I say, you don't expect fireworks from players returning from injury. I think there's two things here. That one, I'm going to use Ben White here because it's been irking me for some time. This narrative that Arsenal should have done the operation in the summer. That's obviously apparent now, right, with hindsight. But
Yeah,
the blame that's been going on Mikel Arteta for that one, for not sending him for surgery in the summer, are you telling me that he's not got medical advice and he's not just followed it, right? As you just said, we're not medical experts, nor is he. If the
yeah,
medical experts are saying, hey, he should probably have an operation and now it's the end of the season, he'd be out for about 2, 3 months, well, brilliant. He's pretty
there
much
you
back.
go.
He might be behind the others because he'll miss pre-season, but you're doing it then. You're not doing it mid-season. You're not waiting, going, do you know what, doctors? I think you're wrong. So absolutely, my concern is that there, which is I had the concern over it, but you have to sort of trust the medical advice, and Arsenal are following that. But we don't know,
Yeah,
but there's always going to be that concern in the back of my mind.
of
Um,
course.
and secondly, just on the young lads, Butler Ajoji being the obvious one,
Yeah,
you know, I think there's a narrative again that Arsenal don't trust young players because of, and I think this is a nice segue into the Manchester United bench where we saw Aiden Heaven, Chovy, Martin
yeah,
there, which obviously is an Arsenal Manchester United narrative because they've moved on. He doesn't trust them. Well, he didn't give Saka and Smith Rowe debuts. He used them a lot. Smith Rowe less so over time. We've seen Miles Lewis Skelly come through. We've seen
yeah,
Ranieri come through. I think when he thinks they're good enough, he shows that there is that pathway and they can get minutes. I think it probably is quite telling that Butler Josie, in his mind, is not a Arsenal player. I
yeah,
don't think he's even a Premier League player, but I haven't seen enough of him. And I'm not going to sort of, you know, sound, call him out over one poor loan spell. Victor Yorker has had poor loan spell at Brighton, and now he's one of the best strikers in Europe, right? Harry Kane had a poor loan spell at Leyton Orient, one of the best strikers in the world.
yeah,
But I would imagine that he's just not quite seen that enough. I would like to see him play against PSV as a sort of bit of a reward for being around, helping out, etc., etc. And there's nothing to lose. But
yeah.
I would suggest that you're right here that he's probably not of the right level, and that's why you are not seeing him, right?
I would say the guy Butler Odeji is, yeah, he's been given big rights up by people who watch the academy, but the guy's 22 years old and he's barely featured in first team. There's a reason why that's not happened. If you think of the likes of, let's remember when Wayne Rooney got into the United side. When he got into the Everton side at 16, he was an outstanding talent at that age. It's a long gap, isn't it, between
Yeah.
16 and 22, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Even if you play Ferguson at Brighton, who's gone out on loan now,
he's at West
again,
Ham
Evan
now, yeah,
Ferguson, yeah, even then, there's a big gap between the two in terms of ages and level, right? And he's probably nearer an Evan Ferguson than he is, Wayne Rooney. Not everyone's a Wayne Rooney, few are, but
yeah,
22 is quite old to be sort of going, oh, he's doing all right in the academy, isn't he?
yeah. And here's the thing. What was I going to say? There's a massive jump up between playing academy matches and there is to playing Premier League matches. Uh, you know, it's a very steep thing to climb. So And like you said, I agree with you with the PSV tie that it is. It doesn't do anybody any harm in playing him for the second leg at the Emirates. But longer term, yeah, it might be a case of another one of those who I'm not, you know, entirely in the know in his contract details. There'll be other people on this channel who will be more wary on that sort of situation. But I mean, there'll be a reason why Haven, as you said, as mentioned, came on the second half for United. There'll be a reason why he left. I don't know what his contract situation was with Arsenal for this season, but there'll be a reason why he left to go to Old Trafford, and there'll be a reason why Butler or Doji hasn't even featured in Premier League now.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I mean, I think Heaven's move to Manchester United made more sense, right? There was a clearer pathway with their centre backs than in ours, right?
Yeah.
Toby Martin, I have less understanding why. I mean, he also got paid an absolute bucket load, and I think that probably is why he went, right? But
Yeah.
but both of them on the United bench today. What were your thoughts on that?
Again, the pair of them have been on the United bench. I've been keeping an eye on them for the last few weeks since the transfers have happened. Didn't surprise me. That I think today was Heaven's debut actually.
Yes,
So in fairness, did okay. Again, nothing spectacular, but what, 6 out of 10 probably. As a result, he done a reasonable job as a defender. Open Martin never got on. That would have been interesting to see how he would have got on against Saliba and Gabriel, for example, but it never happened.
big ask for the
Again,
young man. That.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, my
Exactly.
view was I wasn't worried about seeing them on the bench. I don't, they left. It happens. It's fine. Arsenal tried to keep them. Like I say, I understood Heaven more than the other one. But there we go.
Yeah.
We should probably get into the match itself. Arsenal started relatively brightly. I mean,
Mm.
arguably controlled the first half. You look at the field tilt and all that. Arsenal comfortable, in control, much the better side. United really struggling to play out from the back.
Mm.
But really struggled to make any massive clear-cut opening. That sort of lack of quality in the final third, not necessarily a surprise. I think we've been talking about this for a while. When you're missing your front three, your first choice front three, and your options are limited,
Yeah.
and I think we've talked about this before. My view, very quickly, should have added something in January. But would one player have made a massive difference when you're missing all of those players? No, I don't think it was. Right, it was always going to be an attritional one. I thought United would come out more. They sat much deeper than I thought.
Mm.
And I don't know what your views on it really were, but as I say, I thought Arsenal played well, controlled the game, weren't quite quick enough, and didn't create the cutting edge as a result. And it was a fairly dull first half until the moment near the end, which we'll come on to in a minute.
Yeah, I agree. It was largely Arsenal in possession for the large part of it, um, although it was very difficult to get a clear-cut opportunity. Uh, I felt relatively comfortable for the vast majority of the first half. I thought, all things considered, with our end and our team selection, go to Old Trafford doesn't matter. I'll just sort of dismiss the current form. This is Old Trafford. This is Manchester United, and I thought, yeah, we're doing okay here, and then we get hit by a sucker punch. To be honest,
That's exactly the word I wrote down here.
this is why I've got you hosting this today, mate.
Should we move on to the sucker punch? I mean, I thought it was
Let's do it.
like I say, a very Arsenal performance in terms of control and stuff,
Yeah,
but lacking the cutting edge, which I think we would have had. Free kick given away by Calafiori, I think fair enough.
yeah,
Um,
no
uh,
complaints here.
yeah, Fernandez, he puts it. Well, he doesn't put it in the top corner, does he? It's a very powerful free kick. Thoughts on the goal? I mean, a lot of people critical of Raya. Fair, unfair? What are your
I,
thoughts on that one? And,
I
and and how do you think it impacted Arsenal then going forward? Sort of given it was right on the
yeah,
stroke of half time.
any sort of goal that comes up that sort of timestamp is going to be a real kick in the teeth. It doesn't matter, home or away. It's going to be a real kick in the teeth. Uh, Now, it'd be really interesting to see from the goalkeeper's point of view, where getting that view from what Ray actually saw behind his wall, because I've seen the criticism you were talking about, whether he should have done better or not. I'm not a goalkeeper. That's the thing. Oh, hello, Luca. It's good to see you, buddy. It's nice to see you here, mate.
Evening, Luke. I hope you're doing well.
Has he changed his channel name again? He has, hasn't he?
I think the picture's changed, but I don't think the channel name has. But I could be mistaken.
Luca talks ball. It's good to see you, Luca, mate. So look, in terms of I'm not a goalkeeper, so I'm pretty sure he would have set the wall up like he would have done, and then the ball came in at some pace. In all fairness, look, end of the day, the life of a goalkeeper, I think you're trying to set up best you can, and then bang, it goes and hits you where it hurts, unfortunately. So one of them things. How does that impact you? Well, it felt like a body blow. That was my feeling. I still felt confident that we come out today with something. And yeah, we managed to do that. Half time came. There wasn't any changes on the Arsenal front. There was one from the United front, and of course, this is where Haven came on for the second half, right?
Yeah, Lenny Yora going off, presumably with an injury. I didn't quite see if that was
so.
the case, but I'm assuming that's why he went off, right?
Yeah, I would imagine so. I have not heard anything, else since the game and post, but
yeah, I can't think why United would make a change otherwise at that position. I mean, I wasn't surprised to see a non-Arsenal substitution that half. As I say, I thought we controlled the first half without overly looking threatening. But you're exactly right; it's a body blow, and I think it's almost become more of a body blow when you have been the better side, right? And we were the better side, even if it wasn't great. Like, I don't think either side deserved to go in at half time ahead. To be perfectly blunt. I thought the free
I
kick was
agree.
excellent. I mean, like you, I'm no goalkeeper expert, but I hear a lot of sort of professionals talking about Raya's position for that one, and I think I would bow to their knowledge on that one. I think sometimes there's a story to be told. I don't just, but I'm not buying into this sort of anti-Arsenal agenda here. But sometimes there's a story to be told where you're over-egging it slightly because it makes it more exciting. But I've seen sort of quite a number of people sort of commenting on that, saying, yeah, he's not quite got his position right there. But as you say, when a goalkeeper makes a mistake, it ends up in the net. When a midfielder gives the ball away, nine times out of 10, you're all right, right? Everyone is easy. And he more than makes up for it later, as we'll touch on. But
it's really easy, isn't it? It's really easy as an outfielder. I mean, I've heard people criticise Marino today. I was over and watching True Gooner doing the live stream through all his technical difficulties. Bless you.
McDonald's Wi-Fi back.
Exactly. And we kind of forget, right, that Marino's done a job completely out of his. Oh, shall I use a wrestling terminology? Yeah, I think
go for it. It'll go over my head, but go for it.
Right. So it's kind of out of his moveset, if you like. It's almost like he's trying to learn a position on the fly. And in fairness, he's already got 3 goals playing centre forward. That ain't bad, is it? To be fair, I mean, yeah, I know he barely got
for a number
today.
6, yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad, is it? And yeah, anyone who wants to come at me, I know he never had a kick today. I know. Hello, Russ. It's good to see you in the chat, mate. He says, I just want this season done. I don't know what you're talking about. We've got so much to play on. We've got Champions League to worry about, mate.
Yeah, I think if we're at the Champions League, you just want to be there and go. It's top 4, right? That's what you want now, which is definitely not where we want to be. And maybe we touch on that at the end.
Of course not. Of course not. Clearly, I'm being a little bit.
Of course,
right?
But you are right? We've still got the Champions League, which is why until that's over, I don't want the season done. You still got to look forward to it. But I mean, look, Moreno's not played well today, but I think it's one of those games, and as you say, he's playing completely out of position. I think I do think there's an anti-Moreno agenda. I think he basically is a squad player. We knew he was signed. He was
Yeah,
signed to start this season, right? But you knew he was going to end up being a squad player because he wasn't the midfield. We couldn't get the midfield we wanted. I
of
think.
course.
I think he's technically still quite good. He's powerful in the air, but what he is he's a limited player, right?
Yeah.
And he's going to be upgraded in the summer. But would he have signed if we could have got the number one target? No. So what did we do? We knew Jorginho and Partey were likely leaving, so we replaced one of them last summer instead. And he's also had a very difficult season in terms of injuries and what have you, and I don't think it's helped him. So I think we'll see a better Marino next season.
Once he's
He's
had
got
a pre-season for a start, that help him.
Yeah, I think so massively. Theo Walcott's spoken about that before. So, I do find a massive anti-Moreno agenda. I'm not saying he's a world beater. I never thought he
No,
was going to be.
no.
But I think some of the anti-Moreno hate is I find it irritating. But as you say, second half then, we went in,
Right.
as I say, with that body blow. And it was a body blow.
Yeah.
Um, we had an early chance from Odegaard, which Onana saved well early on. I don't know if you remember that. It was a tiny little save. I think everyone thought it was a goal
Yeah,
kick, myself included, until the referee gave another corner, and Onana must have got a little flick on it.
he
Um,
did. He got a very tidy little save to it, to be
yeah,
fair, didn't he?
yeah.
And
A rocket from Arteta at half time, do we think, beforehand? Or just a
uh,
natural progression from the first half? Or
yeah,
both?
I would imagine. I would imagine Mikel wouldn't have been very happy at half time. In fairness, and we know he's not afraid of having a pot when he needs to. That's what managers do. That's what they're paid to do. But like you say, yeah, Odegaard had the effort. I heard people wanting to jump on the he's ghosting again because he didn't provide an assist or a goal in the first half. Yeah, I heard that in the first half, and it bewilders me. It bewilders me. It's not what we do here. To be fair, um, Erdegaard and Trossard don't have any power in their shots, Russ. That's interesting.
I think they're more placement finishers rather than belt the ball finish as a
Hmm.
general rule. I thought Trossard, had a difficult game today, to be honest, with his finishing, to be
Yeah,
fair.
I agree.
Um,
I agree.
O-
He wasn't brilliant today. No,
I mean,
no, of course
I
not.
mean Odegaard, I think, has had a very difficult season. By his own admission, he spoke about it in the week. Again,
Mm.
I think injury hit hasn't helped. I also think that sort of lack of chemistry, with different players coming in and out, hasn't helped. But I mean, Odegaard has been poor this season. But this idea that
Mm.
he is a poor player, and I know that's not necessarily what was he saying here, but I think it's for the birds, right? I think there's a understandable amount of irritation around the season, one that we share, right? But also,
Yeah,
I think you have to look at things in the context of the whole season. I think that includes Martin Odegaard. If Martin Odegaard was 31, 32, I'd be worried. But at his
yeah.
age now, I'm like, no, he's just had a difficult season. I don't think he's done or cooked or anything like that. And I don't think he's coasting through games I mean, he's coasting through games to some extent. He's not influencing the game like you'd want to. But I don't think it's a lack of
I
desire.
get
I
what you mean.
just think it's one of those things where, it's just not happening. And I think that's the story of the season, which is very frustrating. But
I think you're right in terms of like. So let's go back. He had a couple of goals over the PSV tie, but today he wasn't the best. Is he struggling to get that performance week in week out? Yeah, probably. Whether he's done or not completely, no, I don't think so. Um, it almost goes back to the comment that Russ says earlier on. I just want this season done. Maybe Erdegaard kind of wants that as well. Maybe he wants to have a bit of a break and then get back into full speed. Because maybe he struggled, and he'll know. He'll know
well,
that
he said it himself this week.
yeah, exactly. Um, what can you say? It's a difficult one, isn't it? But
Yeah.
he'll know himself he hasn't reached the standards that he got of the last season. That's probably about fair.
Yeah, and his standards in the last two seasons have been exceptionally high. This one has been very disappointingly low by his standards. But like you say, I agree with you. I think it's coming back.
Yeah.
I mean, Arsenal made a couple of early changes then. Calafiori and
Right.
Wanyeri going off. We spoke about Wanyeri, and not surprised to see the up and down a little bit there. He's played a lot of minutes for his age and
Yeah.
his body. I think that was the right call. I don't really want to see him start against PSV. Give him a rest ahead of
No need
Chelsea.
to.
Exactly. Raheem Sterling come in.
Yeah.
We're
Why
not.
not?
It doesn't matter, right? And I still think Raheem Sterling gets a goal. Suddenly, we might see a little bit more from him there.
We can't
But
see any less, mate. Can
well,
we?
that's true. That's true. Exactly. But you know what I mean. I think there's a
Sorry,
confidence
that
issue
was
there.
really negative
No,
of me,
no.
and
But
that's
you're absolutely
really,
right.
really unlike me.
No. But you're absolutely right. There's no sugarcoating. Raheem Sterling's season has been
Yeah.
diabolically poor. No question.
Yeah.
Absolutely no question. But
Yeah.
But does Raheem Sterling get 2, 3 goals come the end of the season if he scores one on Wednesday? I don't think that's very on the realms of possibility. I spoke about Odegaard and the confidence coming back, and I think he still looked a more confident player today. I just don't think it happened for him. But he looked
Yeah.
more willing to get the ball. He looked more confident and comfortable on the ball today.
Yeah.
And I think that was a continuation of the Wednesday game, although it didn't quite have this Tuesday game, sorry, albeit it didn't,
Yeah.
was it whichever day it was now, it's been a long week.
Tuesday. Yeah. Yeah.
But, a continuation of that, I thought that it showed Odegaard moving back towards that, and I still think that will continue. And I think that possibly Raheem Sterling, a goal is what he needs more than anybody else in the world, similar to Gabby Jesus this season. But either side of
Yeah.
those substitutions, we saw 2 big saves from Raya. One,
Yeah.
to save with his legs from Mazrari. The other one, a massive, massive right hand to keep out Joshua Xerxes effort. That header
Yeah.
going right in the corner, he keeps it out. You know,
Bit of
and
redemption there, I think, perhaps.
I was going to say a redemption arc for him maybe
Yeah.
in this game. And big saves. We spoke about Arsenal controlling the game, and I think they controlled the game throughout. But United did create the clearer cut opportunities, which
Yeah.
I don't think their front line is amazing, but it shows what happens when you've got your front players available, as opposed to when you haven't. You can just have that moment of more quality than maybe Arsenal could manage today, and it took Raya to be big and strong to keep him out.
That's right. Yeah, couldn't agree more. It was interesting that United came in today, uh, dropping Rasmus Højlund. To be fair, didn't expect that in the slightest, to be honest. But
That didn't shock me actually, Lee. Sorry to
it didn't
interrupt, but
shock you.
he's been
No,
he's
it's all
been
right.
poor
You
for a
could.
long time, and Joshua Xerxes has started to look. I know they both sort of started games, but he started to look a little bit more confident and comfortable. And I also think, I spoke about the surprise of United being more defensive by
Yeah.
dropping Højlund. I thought they actually looked more defensive and looked hit on the counter attack, which is the right
Yeah.
way to play against Arsenal. Particularly with that front three missing, Arsenal struggled to break down a low block. United within a low medium block. I didn't expect to see it from them today at home, but it was the right tactical move from Ruben Amorim, and therefore Højlund dropping surprised me from the point of view I didn't think Manchester United would do it, but I think was the right decision from Manchester United.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Annoyingly, of course they did it against us, right?
Of course. Yeah, I get what you mean. I get what you mean completely. Tactically, yeah. I mean, they did a good job. Unfortunately, it's really annoying, to be fair. But like you say, you take one player out, and then they look a little bit more solid. It was interesting how they did set up. To be fair, they took a lot of punishment from a lot of stuff going early on. I'm just about to see if don't know if you still got the live pictures from Sky, but see Fernandez free kick again. So maybe I can describe a little bit more.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, how I see, because as you look at it, you're seeing Raya is sort of. So what is it? They're 11.2 yards away from the wall. So could the wall have been a tiny bit closer? Don't know. You're looking at little details. It wasn't right at the corner. Was Raya right in the right position? I don't know. I'm no goalkeeper, but normally they sort of tend to go sort of further one way and let the wall carry the other side, don't they?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I see that on there. I don't want to. Does it sound really corny saying a bit of collective responsibility on both ways here?
Well, I think the goalkeeper sets the wall and positions it, to be fair, but
Yeah. But
uh,
like you mentioned just then, though, okay, you might have made a mistake here, but you're not made up for it on the double
exactly.
save here. Life of goalkeeper. who let's not forget, did win the Golden Glove last season.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he's been a very, very good goalkeeper, no question. For you
Yeah.
can sort of see why Arsenal made a change.
Yeah.
Trossard obviously missed another chance, and we spoke about him a little bit earlier. But then the moment I think probably Arsenal deserved, right, which is Rice getting
Right.
the equaliser, absolute thunderbolt from just inside the area after some really good work from Timber. Arsenal sort of working it almost to the byline and then pulling it back, if memory serves.
That's right.
And Rice smashing it straight into the far corner past Nana. I mean, thoughts on the goal, but also on Martinelli's reaction afterwards, because he seemed to have a right go at Declan Rice for celebrating, going, come on, let's get on with it and go for a winner. I quite
Oh,
like
I
that.
didn't see that.
So, yeah, I quite like that. So Martinelli appeared to sort of have a bit of a pop at Declan Rice for running to the corner to celebrate, almost as if, come on, we can get going, let's go again. And I like that from Gabby Martinelli. I think that's a really, really good sign. The league's gone. A draw here doesn't sort of change anything, and yet he's still shouting at Declan Rice, so let's go, come on.
I like that attitude. You definitely want to be looking at the getting the winner. Of course, yeah, you had time for it. I like Timber again right back. The cut back to Rice, who hit that lovely shot, was pretty much unsavable. In fairness,
Yeah.
But
Especially with Onana in goal.
yeah. Let's not have a go at Onana because in fairness, he frustrated us for a long time today. What do you make of this comment here from Russ saying that goalkeepers under Arteta seem to get 2 seasons? Ray will be number 2 next season. I doubt it.
I think this is tongue in cheek, right? I'm pretty, but I mean, historically, he's not wrong. Leno too, Ramsdale too, Raya too. I mean, he's going to get a third. I suspect we'll see Juan Garcia come in, and I wonder if Garcia will be the number 2 next season. I think that will be who it will be. I think
we need to sign another goalkeeper, don't we?
Yeah, we definitely will. And look, we tried to sign him last year. Espanyol weren't budging on the release clause, right? And they weren't interested in doing anything other than the release clause. So no surprise to see Arsenal go out and do the loan. I've spoken a lot about the finances. You can go and see a couple of videos if you're really interested in how that all works on my channel. Amazingly, I was actually right in my prediction pre-Arsenal's account on how much money we had to spend in January, which is around the £50 million mark. It's been confirmed by a couple of journalists. A bit of a proud moment for me. But when you spend the 20 million on him on a one-off fee, basically, because it's a release clause, that hits your FFP really, really hard. So I can sort of see why Arsenal pulled away from that deal. Yeah. And what it did do is, and it has hampered us in January because we couldn't do a domestic loan, was it meant a loan for Neto. But at least Arsenal had a backup and we were ready to pull it on the final day. People criticised us for not doing that in the pod. We had a backup plan in place when we couldn't get Juan Garcia sorted. Obviously, we thought that Espanyol were going to capitulate. They didn't. But we had a plan ready, and I don't think you can foresee the level of injuries, meaning we need a domestic loan, which is what, to the level there. Arsenal weren't planning for that and shouldn't have planned for that. I mean, it's historic. Not that level, right? But I think it will be Juan Garcia and, and as I say, I think there's a tongue-in-cheek comment here from Russ, but, arguably, he's the second best goalkeeper in the league right now. In fact, unarguably, I think he just is the second best goalkeeper in the league. Alisson still probably tops him.
Yeah. No arguments there. No arguments here at
all. But anyway, thoughts on the goalie? We were, Timber loves to see him getting forward. But did you think we were going on to get a winner at that point?
I always, you know me, mate. I'm always positive Pete of the channel. Of course, I thought we'd go and get a winner. It didn't happen. Did we really have a massive chance after that? No, I don't think we did, because I think United got straight back into the game and probably put themselves in the box seat straight away. I'm kind of glad in some ways that we actually picked up something in the longer term, in the bigger picture. And second time, I think I've said that during this stream, that the league's probably long gone, but it's more of a case of consolidating that second place. No, I don't think it's good enough, people. No, I don't. But if you look at it, it's not easier going to Champions League for next season, for example, in the automatic places than going through the qualifying stages of it. That's kind of what I'm trying to get at.
I think so. I think when you have to look at the context of a season, right? This is what I do a lot. If Arsenal had a normal season this season and we finished second and didn't win anything, I think there are genuinely. I would have been Arteta out. I think the season has been so abnormal
Yeah,
that actually I'm not at that point yet. And I also look at when I compare Arteta to his contemporaries that have been through similar. And I think Tottenham and Manchester United, Manchester City, sorry, the big two that have been through that. I think we've outperformed both. And I mean, relative to their expectations this season, I would expect us to outperform Tottenham. We are a better side than Tottenham right now. But I don't think all that needs to be factored in. But you're absolutely right, by the way, when you say, I thought we might go on and win it from there too.
yeah,
But United were the better side in terms of chances created after that. They looked. The home crowd really roared them on. To be fair, Onana had his blushes saved with a bit of a fortunate save from Martinelli, who, as I said earlier on the stream, took an instinctive shot, nice early shot there. I was pleased with that. I'd like to see more from that from Gabby there.
yeah.
Onana makes a save you'd expect him to save, but Martinelli spotting Onana out of position and goes near post. The harder place to score, but Onana's body weight was going the other way. He's out of position. But I think this, by the way, this comment is exactly where I am. It's where I was this season. I think even if you have an abnormal
I
season
agree.
next season like this one, I think at that point it's probably the end, right? I think there are genuine mitigating circumstances this season, but if it happens again, yeah, you kind of have to go. Do you know what? It's the end. So I agree. This is exactly where I am, Russ. Too. But just back to the game then, and it was a bit of end to end, wasn't it? We had Rice making an excellent tackle on Hoyland to deny him, and that just shows where his
Probably
confidence is. By the way,
a
yeah,
match saving tackle. I thought.
yeah.
I can't remember who the tackle was on. To be fair,
It was Rasmus Højlund,
was it
who
Highland?
actually
Right,
I think a more confident Højlund there. Rice doesn't get the ability to make that tackle, but Rice has
right.
to get that tackle not only spot on timing. What he's off, he's gone. He mistimed that tackle by
Red card penalty probably, right?
yeah, he's inside the area. It was an awesome tackle from Declan Rice, who I thought was sensational today, and
Yeah,
then Raya making another. I mean, his highlight reel at the end of the season is going to have some look at it, isn't it? An excellent save. Posh Bertie sort of referring to it as David Seaman against Sheffield United-esque, I think, from back in the
yeah.
day. He clawed that ball out, having made a half save from
Miracle save.
Bruno Fernandes. Just excellent. And I think at that sort of stuff, I think he is the best in the league. I think he's even better than Alisson at that point. I think Alisson's a better goalkeeper, but Raya arguably the better sort of instinctive saver. I know that sounds daft because it's instinctive. You can't,
Yeah,
you can't sort of train for that. So, well, you can train for that, but you know what I mean. It's
yeah.
you've either got it or you haven't to some extent. But he is so good at that and done it so many times this season.
I think we're almost looking at it, and it almost in real time. We're watching it on television like it's in slow motion, right? And you're almost expecting the ball to cross the line. Incredible it didn't. Fair play to David Raya, who I know has had criticism on the first goal, but he's really bailed us out on a potential second goal for United, which would have absolutely ruined our weekend. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And you would have seen all that sort of hyperbole reaction. Like I spoke about it in the week. I understand the frustration and the emotions around it, but I think if you look at it rationally, it's a slightly different story. But all of that would have started up again. So I'm glad we didn't, and I think Arsenal deserved a point today overall. It was the right result, frustrating as that is, and I think it keeps you not where we want to be, but in the driving seat for second place, right?
Yeah.
Ryan Morvan making up for his save earlier. We've probably been close to the game now, but I don't know if you wanted to sort of name your man of the match and give your overall thought, sort of final thoughts on the game before maybe we discuss Andrea Berta very quickly.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of agree with the decision on the telly. To be fair, Rice, man of the match, for getting us back into the game and his overall work in midfield. The match-saving tackle absolutely kept us in it. I'm not sure there was any other outstanding candidates in the Arsenal camp. In all fairness, if you're wondering, by the way, I'm kind of laughing because I'm seeing Posh Bertie going off on Twitter again, and he just I've already told him once to stop it, and he's not listening to me. That dear Posh, what are you like?
Ah,
Can I quote you? Let me just see if I can see it.
I've got it.
Pathetic.
Excuse
Go
of
on.
him. Pathetic excuse of a manager. Can't handle a bit of criticism. Goes off in a huff. Useless egomaniac. I mean, I haven't seen the interview, but I think the idea of Mikel Arteta being useless
Wow.
is over the top. I think there are questions about can he land a trophy. You know, can he get Arsenal to where they need to be and land these big trophies? I think that's a fair question because he hasn't yet, and until he disproves it, the questions can be asked. But the idea that he is a if he left Arsenal tomorrow, he's going to land a big job somewhere. I mean,
That's the
unquestionably, to
thing.
my mind.
We often hear his name being talked about all around the La Liga, the big clubs, Barcelona. I've heard that a few times,
Hmm.
which kind of brings us quite nicely into what we're going to talk about, right? In the new appointment. And look, I'm not going to lie to you, Dom. I don't know an awful lot about actual fact. You know what? I still have it. I still have it in the background somewhere. Let me see if I can see it. It's Andre Berta, right? There he is.
Andre Berta. Yep, there you go.
There it is. That's the story from the Athletic. That it's more or less confirmed it's a done deal, right? Um, so this deal is basically in place from what we understand,
Yeah, yeah,
and you know, and that's a good thing because having him in place months before a couple of months before the season ends, before we go into, I said it on the video I did earlier on, before we go into this crucial summer window, we have to get things right, and we have to increase the depth in our squad. I think it's really important that both he and Berta and Arteta will talk and see what they want to do in terms of recruitment and the direction where we're going. And yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how it all pans out in the end because he's got a heck of a reputation, certainly in La Liga.
yeah. I mean, I've done sort of my views on this earlier in the week on Andrea Berta when it looked like he was going to get the job, and he got
Yeah,
the here we go this morning from Fabrizio Romano.
yeah, I
I
saw
think his
that.
credentials are very, very high, right? He's worked at Atletico Madrid, who of course have come in and out of title races in Spain, which is not easy to do because the structure in Spain is very different to England. You get much more financial backing. The better you are, you get much more money from the TV because it's not joint sort of negotiation; it's individual negotiation, and that means that Real Madrid and Barcelona dominate TV money in Spain. Everyone
Yeah,
wants to watch them. No one wants to watch other teams. I'm being very simplistic about that take, but it means the finances are
you're
much more.
absolutely right though.
You know,
I know exactly what you mean.
yeah, he's brought in lots of good players there. Jan Oblak, Diego Jota, um,
Yeah,
others that sort of escape my immediate recollection. But Rodri, of course, and he's brought them in for low money, and he sold them on, and several others as well. But he's also got a few wrong. Felix being the
right.
obvious one, where he spent a lot of money. But who hasn't? When you've been in a job for over 10 years, you know you're going to make mistakes. It's this
Half of the
idea that
course, isn't it?
not every transfer is going to work. And this idea that every transfer is going to be a superstar, that's not going to happen. Partly because you don't buy them necessarily for to be a superstar. Sometimes you buy players for a specific reason. You know, Matt Ryan, for instance,
Yeah,
seen as a flop at Arsenal. Well, he was brought in to be the number two. He came in, he did nothing wrong in his couple of games he played,
did
and
fine. Yeah,
and was the backup, right? Is he a superstar signing? No, he just
no,
did what we asked him to do, right? And that's what he was bought for. And he tends to get those ones right as well. I think they're really important for squad building. My view
right.
here is that he's going to inherit a very, very good squad. He's going to inherit a squad that needs obviously a forward or two adding, but we knew that. It will need a central midfielder adding as well, and then it will need a couple of bits from natural move on, which is your central midfield
Yeah.
and your backup goalkeeper, and possibly if we sell a couple of defenders, we might need to bring a defender in as well. But that's just natural churn that you'd have to do every year. The big one that he's going to have to do is we had a couple of loans in. They're the ones he's going to have to get permanent solutions for this year because
Mm-hmm.
the market wasn't there last summer.
Yeah.
January, I think the market absolutely was there, and the club have to take responsibility for January more than the summer, in my view. But also, the finances will significantly improve here. And I know
Yeah.
finances are boring and we don't want to talk about it, but he should have a big war chest this summer because it's 3 years of Champions League football. That matters because the FFP windows are 3 years.
Yeah.
One of the big net transfer losses that we had are going to drop off,
Yeah.
which have limited our ability to spend this year. We're going to have a very low spend this year,
The
still on the
people aren't
books
going to
for
like
3 years.
that, Dom, but you're right,
They're
mate.
not, but it all adds up to that. And that
Yeah.
means that we are in a position to do things that Edu was not in a position to last summer
Yeah.
for the market and the finances. January, I think we had to break our model, right? We have a
Yeah.
very successful model in terms of we are not going to overpay for someone significantly. We're going to be tough negotiation. I think that works because you see clubs that aren't tough negotiation. Chelsea have
Yeah.
to sell players every summer because they're in financial difficulties and they overpay. You know, they got the Neto deal done quickly. Why? Because Chelsea went how much? Wolves went 55 mil or whatever it was, and Chelsea went, okay, Neto's not a 55 million pound player, right? With his injury record, that's okay, he stayed fit this season, but he's hardly pulled up tree. But they get that reputation, and everyone just goes, oh, we'll have more and more and more,
Oh,
and you know,
I wish you hadn't said that. We're playing them next, aren't we, in the Premier
I
League?
know,
What
but
did
you know
you
what I
just
mean.
do, Dom?
I know, but the other side of that coin as well is
Yeah.
Newcastle and Villa. They are going through and trying to build, but having to sell players because
Yeah, of
the
course.
finances they have to comply. You know, did Aston Villa really want to sell what's his face Duran in
Him,
January?
yeah.
No, they
Duran.
didn't. Yeah, yeah, I know.
How
Um,
old are we? Sorry, mate.
I know, too old, too old.
you,
Uh,
you know it.
but did they want to? No, they didn't. You know,
No, but they probably had
and
to
it's the only way to.
to get the FFP
Yeah,
in check, right?
yeah, and we weren't
If that
going to
hadn't have
fail.
gone through, would the Watkins thing have gone through? It might have done.
Well, they were approaching us, don't forget. So were
Yeah,
they going to get 45
mad.
million? No, they weren't. But if Duran hadn't gone through, Arsenal could only go to 50 million. You've left yourself a bit of negotiating room there. Well, we'll
Yeah,
give you 50. I think they probably have to accept that at that point, right?
yeah,
And it is boring stuff, but Arsenal's FFP, we're never going to not comply. But that's
yeah,
because we've done sensible club management. What it did do was limit our ability this summer, as did the market in the summer. To January, like I say, you just have to break your rules. I'm sorry, you had to break your rules, and the club had to
yeah.
own that. But this
I
summer,
agree.
we should have big money. And we will probably hear the narrative. Look, see, he can get big deals over the line. Well, so did Edu, to be fair. So did
Yeah,
Arteta. But I think the key thing here is the two have to be able to get on, like Edu and Arteta did, and challenge each other. And I think the idea that Edu and Arteta never challenge each other is also for the birds.
yeah, yeah. You
It's
got it
just not
right,
true.
mate.
They did. But what the good news about Berta is he is a more experienced director of football. And that's what you need now because Arsenal are now a better football club. We are a more attractive destination for better players than we were 3-4 years ago. And that's reality.
Yeah,
I think this is going to be a good appointment. But you never know until it starts.
an experienced appointment with a still relatively inexperienced manager. People are going to say, but again, that will test both of them. And yeah, I think this ought to work quite well. It'll be interesting to see what happens. It's the summer's going to be a very instrumental one in terms of where we go from now. Let's be honest. I feel the fall back a little bit from where we were maybe 12 months ago to where we are now. But then again, look at what's happened. Look at the difference in playing squad. For example, let's say I think you have to give it a bigger look, and we ain't completely done yet in terms of the season. Let's be honest, but we've still got although it might seem a bit far fetched, and in our lifetime, Dom, we've seen us go to Real Madrid and win. So
We
you
have.
know,
I mean, I don't expect it to happen. To be fair,
why not? Why not?
I think Real Madrid are favourites, right? But you never know, and you're not going to give up on it, right? Until it's done. You know, you,
Never give
the,
up.
well,
Oh,
it,
loyalty, hustle, respect. Do. Sorry,
I'm assuming that's a wrestling reference that I don't get, but
it is. Yeah, yeah,
um, but the reason we play the games, it's a cliche, is because games aren't won on paper. We are not favourites. I don't expect to beat Real Madrid if that's who we play. I expect us. I have more faith of us beating Atletico Madrid
yeah.
than Real Madrid for obvious reasons. But it doesn't mean we can't do it. Um, but I also think that if you replayed this season exactly how it is, and
Hmm.
Arsenal didn't get the injuries they got, and I think got some different decisions. I think this league is. I think Arsenal win the league. I really do. I think the squad is capable of winning the
Yeah,
league. But credit to Liverpool. Salah's been unbelievable. They've rode
of
their
course,
luck,
yes.
and you need luck to win the league. You need everything to go right. By Russ. Uh, oh, is
That
he not
time
going?
is
Is that a
now.
wrestling? Is that
That's
a
a.
wrestling?
Do you know who John Cena is?
I know who John Cena
No,
is. Yeah.
you can't see him. Time is now.
Oh, okay. I thought he meant he had to go.
No, no, no,
Apologies,
no.
Russ. Yeah, I
I
don't.
got
I
you,
don't do
mate.
wrestling unless it's Stacey Keebler. I don't do wrestling. Um,
Oh wow, wow.
um, but
Don't. My good lady's in the other room.
I
Stop it.
know that's why I said it. My good lady won't be watching this. But
But she should subscribe.
I know. I keep telling her that. I was like, I'm on the road to 100.
Exactly.
I'm not at month 4 yet. I'm up month 3.5 at the moment. I
What
think it is.
phase are you in, Dom?
Oh, don't start that again.
Sorry, sorry. I don't know.
You know,
What, I think another lead came over me there. I don't know what that was.
no, I mean, I look. If someone doesn't believe in phases and can give me a coherent strategy for how Arsenal go from the squad he inherited in
Yeah.
18 months to league title winners, coherent, financially viable, then I will go, okay, phases don't exist. But until someone can prove me that, then, I'm fully in. But yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I do think that but overall, I think Arsenal have a squad to do it. And I think the future is still exciting. The season has been a disappointment, but
Yeah.
it happened to Liverpool 2 years ago. It's happened to us and City this year. It's football and it happens and things happen. Frustrating as it is to be saying that, because I thought we'd be champions this year. And I still think we would have been.
It could have been, mate. We could have been.
But there we go.
We are where we are, and the important thing about today and the result, especially after Forest got a very important result in their season in terms of getting a result against Man City. Who'd have thought that had happened? By the way, incredible. We still get a point in the league in terms of trying to finish second. No, I don't think that's what we're looking for, but that's where we are. Stone Cold Fellows in the chat. It's good to see you, mate. Hello. Yeah, not too bad. Like I said at the start of the stream, there's a very good reason why my good friend and colleague Dom is on that side of the stream rather than me. And it might not be to do with the fact that I might be on Pepsi at the moment, but I wasn't earlier on.
Yeah. Yes, the amber nectar was going down a treat possibly earlier.
Oh hell yeah!
Honey
Stone
tea,
Cold.
right? Amber nectar, honey tea, was it?
Perhaps.
But in all
not.
likelihood, not. Lee, we've been going nearly an hour. We should
We
probably
have.
call close to it very shortly. But any sort of final things you want to sort of reflect on from either today or in the week that's coming up?
Well, what can we say about the week coming up? It's like we're going to the Champions League second leg at the Emirates in an unbelievable position. In fairness, they can't mess it up from there, can they?
No.
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 I
No.
mean, no, they can't. They can't. I mean, Raheem, go on, son. You've seen what these guys are like. Go on, make us look silly.
Yeah. I think I can play at centre half, Lee, and I think we'll be all right. To be honest,
Are you registered?
I'm not, and I don't qualify for the under-23s.
No, that might be the problem, mate. I mean, I can get a pair of football boots, no problem, but I might have the same sort of problem. But
Superb performance again for me at centre half on Friday. Just saying.
oh, love to hear it, mate. Love to
I'm
hear it.
5 foot. I'm 5'2" as well. That's what makes it so funny.
Oh, excellent! You can't teach that. That's another wrestling reference. Sorry. Look, I'm kind of pleased that we got something out of Old Trafford. Look, no, a draw is not what we were looking for at start of play. We got something in terms of the bigger picture, and hopefully, look, I almost want to ditch the Premier League campaign, but we can't do that, unfortunately. At least we got something adding to the total today. We go for almost a free hit or against PSV. I think it's Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken, and then we go to play Chelsea in the league. We'll see. Let's have another encouraging week in the Champions League. That's at least what we're looking for, and we'll see what happens. Be interesting to see what happens in the Champions League, and it'll be interesting to see, without looking too far above into the distance, who we draw in the next round.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, we do know we're going to Madrid, but I think Chelsea next weekend is obviously the big one for
Yeah.
us. You know, we got 6 points on them at the moment, a bit of a cushion, 4 points to Forest. I mean, Roy Keane apparently said after the game that Arsenal shouldn't be looking at Liverpool; they should be looking down. He's right, but I think
Yeah.
going forward, you know, Arsenal will be looking up, not down. You know, but get a win against Chelsea next weekend, and that's 9 points then to fourth.
Yes.
Easier said than done. We're going to have to play well. Chelsea not on the best of form either, but I think we can rest a lot of players. Chelsea will, of course, rest a lot of players because they have different squad for this. I mean, they've got about 45 players, haven't they? So, of course, they've got a different squad for
At the
their
very
Conference
least,
League.
yeah.
You know, so no surprise there. So they'll be well refreshed. So I think Arsenal need to rest players. You can talk about the momentum, but I don't think one win in midweek is going to sort of make much of a difference momentum wise.
No.
To be blunt, and as you say, I think it's all eyes on Chelsea, and then there's the international break where we just got to hope that players stay fit.
And then maybe we can have a little bit of a breath and think, right, okay, where do we go now?
Yeah, exactly.
It'll be an interesting finish one way or another to the season. Maybe not the way we kind of anticipated it might be, but we might be looking at the Champions League more than anything else at the moment now, guys. So,
any concerns
we'll
about
see.
not finishing the top two, Lee?
No, I don't have any concerns of that. Some people might, but you know,
You've been on Twitter, have you?
No, I never heard of it, mate.
Oh, Timmy. Oh, I must say hello to my good friend Tim from Online Big Blue Sports. He's a massive Giants content creator, knows his stuff. If you're into NFL, particularly Giants, go and check him out. It's straight talking, no nonsense as you'd expect. But yeah, do go and check him out. I'm in the hosting seat, Tim, by the way. So you know, just in case you're looking for anyone. Although the running joke is I lose him subscribers, which is true every time I'm on.
Wait, do you know why? It's because you keep on upsetting people, mate.
But there we go.
But if they can't take a bit of a joke and a bit of tongue in cheek, mate, what can I
Tim,
tell you?
Tim is fantastic. Yeah, he does wonkering. So if you say something stupid or you know
I'm
what have
good at
you, yeah, exactly. He wonkers people.
There you go. There you go.
Oh,
but
Timmy.
Dom, this has been really fun. Thank you so much. Certainly for me and my family's point of view, it's really helped us out.
Told you I was short, by the way.
Exactly. No, it's been really helpful you being in the hosting position today, Dom. We really appreciate you, and of course, like, share, and subscribe. Not just to Gooner Gathering, but of course, Arsenal Domination, Dom's channel, who is well on the way to getting 100 subscribers. There you go, mate. You can get there. You can get there. What have you got coming up, Dom?
I lost a couple of subscribers in the week when I put out.
How'd you manage that? How'd you manage that?
Well, I might have upset a few with a video. But there we go. I'll give my view, and that will be my view. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't.
Exactly.
You know.
You can't please everyone in the YouTube sphere, can you?
No,
Mate?
no.
But it's
If
all
I'm honest, I
about
learned that from
opinions, right?
Tim. Yeah, exactly. As long as they're respectful, and do you know what? Crucially, if you've got a view, back it up. It doesn't have to be right,
That's
but at
what we're
least it's
doing.
backed up. Yeah, exactly. And that is why, again, I'm just going to sort of shout out Tim's channel as well here. You know, it very much does that, and he will take you through logically. It doesn't. He'll tell you he's never wrong, and he's very rarely wrong, to be fair.
Right.
But it's all, you can see the logic, you can see it's walked through, and you can see it's all facts in terms of here's the fact, here's that, and here's how I came to that opinion. The opinion bit is, of course, an opinion, but at least it's based on real facts, real data, real analysis of the game, and that's what we both try and do on our channels as well, which
Absolutely.
I think is exactly what it should be. It's about an education as well, particularly for younger guys. Tim's been around a while, so have we.
Yeah.
But what have I got coming up this week? I have absolutely no idea. I have an idea. I hit record on the video, and then we see what happens. So, Lord knows what's coming out this week. At some point, I will be doing a what is on Andrea Berta. It's in tray. I will probably drop within 24 hours of him being officially confirmed. But of course, we are expecting that to be made official in the coming days.
I would imagine early next week. I would imagine, mate.
Yeah, I suspect that will annoyingly coincide with the Wednesday game, at which point I might just delay that video a little bit because it'll get lost in the in the sauce a little bit. But other than that, I've no idea what's coming up this week. But there will be at least a couple of videos coming out this week, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, please do subscribe to me and to Lee. It would really help both of us out. And as I say, yeah, we're doing this for a bit of fun rather than anything else, and it all helps us sort of reach new audiences. So please do help with that if you can.
Certainly, my end, Matt Roberts will be dropping a video. I would imagine that will come out tomorrow to do with the Arsenal ladies side who did play an FA Cup match against Liverpool today. I won't give anything else away on that one, but yeah, Matt will be dropping that video most probably tomorrow. I'd expect something to come out before the PSV game for the men's side. Who knows? If I'm feeling in a good mood, I might just go live on the actual match day itself as well. So we'll see what happens. But I think that more or less wraps us up for this evening. Again, thank you very much, Don Palmer from Arsenal Domination, to help us out on the channel this evening. We are going to head out of here, and thank you very much, anyone who's watching live, anyone who's watching on demand as well. If you've got this far, hit the like, hit the subscribe button on both the channels. They'll both be in the description. Certainly, if they are not now, they will be later on. So yeah, thank you very much all for watching, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.
See you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.